All right, welcome to the next unit in this economics course. We totally shift gears now. Modules 1, 2, 3, and 4. We leave most of that behind. We still do carry over little bits and pieces of it, but if you didn't like or if you really liked the first part of this course, now we totally shift gears. So I don't know if that's good news or bad news. People tend to on these next 5, 6, 7 modules. People either really tend to get it or they really struggle with it, and it's supply and demand. And we start off with Module 5 is demand, Module 6 is supply, and then in Module 7 we bring both of those back together again to figure out prices and shortages and surplus. But it's really, really important that you get Module 5 and take time on it to make sure you grasp it, because Module 6 is going to be a lot like it. And if you don't understand Module 5, you are not going to understand Module 6. And then, of course, you won't understand Module 7 because it is built upon 5 and 6. So really, really make sure you take the time to understand and get Module 5. In Module 5, we only really work with one of these types of markets, and that's the bottom one, the perfect competition, or what we call a perfect market. Now, I'll get to that one here in just a little bit. I want to describe these other ones to you, and so you know what we're dealing with here in Module 5 and what type of market we're talking about in nearly all of our situations. In some situations, you have a monopoly. Monopoly is just like the board game where you're trying to own it all, where one company or one business pretty much owns everything. Now, you may say that a lot of students say, Apple has a monopoly on iPads. Well, that's true. They do own the iPads to themselves. But there are other tablets out there, so they do face some competition. And actually, the iPads would come down in here under monopolistic competition. But we'll get to that in a second. Some examples of monopolies are the electric company that provides electricity to your home. That's a regulated monopoly, but your mom and dad can only choose one company for their electric company. Same thing with gas company, same thing with cable company that runs a line to your home. There's only one company that can do that. So that's an example of a few monopolies. Microsoft's been in trouble for trying to become a monopoly. We really don't like monopolies typically in the United States. We like competition, so it forces companies to do things bigger and better. Imagine if Apple never would have come along. Would Microsoft still be working as hard as they do today to try and compete and gain your business? Probably not. All right, next is oligopoly. Oligopoly. That's when we have a few companies that provide the same type of service. Here, a classic example would be maybe soft drinks, right? There's Coke, there's Pepsi, and they offer a few other drinks. Another classic example is airline industry. There's only 2 or 3 airlines that fly from Indianapolis to any given city, say Vegas or Los Angeles or New York, whatever. So you have a few that provide the same good or service. In a smaller town, you might find 2 or 3 lawyers. You might find 2 or 3 doctors. You might find 2 grocery stores, whatever. So only a few businesses provide a good or service. The next is monopolistic competition, and this is the one that usually we come up with as examples. McDonald's is monopolistic competition. Are they the only ones that sell a Big Mac? Yeah, they are, but they're not a monopoly. They're a monopolistically competitive. They are not the only ones that sell a burger. Burger King, the mom and pop shops, Wendy's, everybody sells burgers, everybody sells cheeseburgers, but they're the only ones that sell a Big Mac. So we call them monopolistically competitive. They own the Big Mac. They're the only ones that can sell the Big Mac, but yet they're still in competition with the other cheeseburger sellers down the street. So that's why we call that monopolistic competition. And then we come to, when we talk about supply and demand in chapters or in modules 5, 6, and 7, what we're talking about almost all the time is a perfect market or perfect competition. That is where there are lots and lots of buyers and lots of sellers of the exact same product. Now, lots of the rules and lots of the examples we talk about will bleed into monopoly or oligopoly or monopolistic competition especially, but typically we're talking about perfect competition. And a couple of examples of perfect competition are stocks, right? It doesn't matter who you buy a share of stock from in McDonald's Corporation. If you buy it from me, you buy it from Grandma, you buy it from the McDonald's Corporation, it is the exact same share of stock. It doesn't matter who you buy it from. It is perfect in every way, perfectly the same in every way. And I don't care who I sell it to. And there are lots and lots of buyers out there. Millions of shares of McDonald's stock are bought and sold every day. So that makes it perfect competition because there's millions of buyers and millions of sellers. Another example is that's typically used as a truck driver. It doesn't matter who I hire to to take a load of goods from here to St. Louis. You're restricted by mileage, so typically whether I hire you or hire your grandpa, hire your grandmother, whoever the licensed truck driver is, they provide the exact same service. So therefore we call that also perfect competition. And look on the highways today. There are hundreds of semis, thousands of semis, millions of semis on the interstate every day. So there's lots of buyers and there's lots of sellers, and there's really no distinction between one service provider and another. Let's see, what else do I need to tell you guys about? You have limited control over the prices, limited control. Both people are what we call price takers. In the semi truck driver example, he's a price taker. He doesn't, if everybody else is going to St. Louis and back for $600, he's going to do it for $600 too. He is not going to raise his price to $625 because there's lots and lots of people that'll do it for $600. So he really has no control over the price. And the same thing for the buyer. The buyer has no control over the price. If one person goes off and does something else, they're going to get left in the dust because nobody's going to follow suit. So they have limited to no control over price, and therefore we call people in a perfectly competitive market a price taker, not a price maker.